am behind the wheel of a 1963 Aston Martin DB4 Series 5 Vantage. This is an astonishing car, and of course a car that is very memorable visually to millions of people around the world because of the movie Goldfinger. Now, you may recall, and if you haven't seen it, I suggest that you tune in. Here in the Audrain YouTube channel, we did a video when we were doing our show, Past to the Present, Power and Speed with Style. And I talked about the Aston Martin pair that was in the show, this very DB4, and a new Vanquish convertible. And I talked a lot about the specifications, about Aston Martin's history, and you can go there to that video and check all that out. But today I just want to talk about the car. You know, it's a very, very funny thing. I'm a big Italian car enthusiast, and I often would take slight umbrage when Aston Martin aficionados would refer to Aston Martins as the British Ferrari. And I thought, well, you know, isn't Aston Martin really much more the British Maserati? After all, the similarities are legion. They both have a double overhead cam inline 6-cylinder engine. They're 2+2 cars. They're not the little two-seaters like Ferrari often makes. And they're really gentlemen's expresses, grand tourers, not out-and-out race cars. And yet, there is something about an Aston that somehow, I don't want to say lifts it, because that would be horrifyingly insulting to Maserati, but sort of takes it maybe to a plane slightly in between a racy two-seater Ferrari and a four-place gentleman's GT car. I also have a particular affinity for Aston Martins of this period, especially the DB4, because the design was done by Carrozzeria Touring in Italy, and the bodies are built under license by Aston Martin in the patented superleggera or super light body construction method. And this method that Touring created back in the 1930s was a way of using lightweight tubing to form the structure of the car, so that the body of the car itself had no structural duties to perform. So therefore it could be very thin, very light, and it made for a very robust yet slightly flexible body that was very, very useful, especially in racing applications. And of course, Aston Martin has a great racing history, and at the time when this car was being designed in the late 1950s, Aston Martin was really on top of its game, having won the World Sports Car Championship and Le Mans, and was really a company on the move. The DB4 perfectly suits that time, the late 50s, early 60s, when Europe had finally recovered from the privations of World War II, and people were ready to express themselves in a really joyous way. And this is a car that really expresses that confidence. I commented in the earlier video back in April about the fact that the Aston of this period really had a wonderful combination feel of a very sporty car, and yet the sort of the club-like ambiance that you expect in a Bentley. And in many ways, I think that this Aston and Astons of this period really sort of recall the great Cricklewood Bentleys of the 1920s. There's great performance, but it's delivered in a very smooth and civilized way. The particular car that I'm driving today from the Audrain collections is a very special DB4 because, as I mentioned, it's a Series 5, so the last series of DB4s, and a Vantage with the high-performance engine, which when new was a 3.7 liter engine, and this one has been, as many have been over the years, bored out to 4.2 liters, which is the specification for the DB4 GT. This car has also been fitted with the 3 Weber 42 DCOE carburetors and the DB4 GT camshaft, so it's really a performance monster. Sort of an Aston hot rod, but even, you know, within Aston specifications, hot rod is a very genteel way. This is a car that can really get up and go. The power is available immediately as soon as you put your foot down on the accelerator, and allied with terrific handling, it really makes a very enjoyable and satisfying ride. This particular example is incredibly well sorted, so it just gives you amazing confidence in any conditions. The fog's been heavy last night, there's a little bit of wetness on the road, but this car gives you absolute confidence. The handling is there, the response is there, the brakes are terrific. This is really a car that you could really enjoy in every condition all day long. And it makes a great sound too. There's nothing like the sound of an inline 6-cylinder engine, especially when you've got those 3 great Weber carburetors sucking air in the way these do. And the ride is also quite wonderful. It's firm, yet compliant, so it's comfortable at all times. And I love a wood-rimmed wheel. And it's got these wonderful knobs in the back to locate your fingers for cornering. It's just a perfect grand touring car. This is literally a car that you could spend hours behind the wheel. And the acceleration. It's difficult to believe that this is a car of 1963, a design that was started in the 1950s, because it feels so modern. It feels modern in the best way, in that it's incredibly usable, comfortable, responsive. There's nothing vaguely vintage about the feel of this car. Its solidity, it belies the notion that British cars are interesting but slightly flaky. Nothing flaky about this Aston. This Aston has broad shoulders and a great set of lungs and just wants to scream and run all day. It's like a great wrestler who's also a sprinter. It's a great combination. And you can imagine why this is such a great choice for the special ride of James Bond. Although, of course, quite interestingly, they wanted to use the Jaguar, but Jaguar wouldn't give them a car, so they went to their second choice, Aston Martin. That's something that I'm sure Jaguar regrets every moment. This is the perfect ride for an agent of MI6, because you know that he or she has arrived, but it's done in a rather understated fashion. I just don't know why Bond would ever want to get out of this car, because I certainly don't. For all of my love of the great Maseratis, perhaps I have become an Aston man after all.